This is the Olympus Industries Prime, and it's one of the few knives that I didn't know what to expect when going into it. I actually didn't have any idea of what I was expecting going into this knife, and I do have an opinion on it. I think it needs some minor improvements, and overall I think it's a pretty solid knife. But let's go ahead and dive into the specifications of it. The knife ranges anywhere from $230 to $250, mainly depending on what color G10 scales you get. As I just said, the scales are made out of G10, the liners are made out of titanium, it's running on bushings and washers, and it has a trainer blade that's pretty similar to a scimitar style blade, and is using a Zen pin system. The spacers are full-length titanium spacers, and it has a nice blue style anode to match the liners. On the blade here you can see the Olympus Industries logo, and if you flip it over you can see the serial number, which this is number 12 of 100. The design of the Prime is, in my opinion, pretty simple. It just kind of all goes together quite well. One of the best things I like about the design is the fleshness of the spacers. As you can see in this clip right here, they look very flush and very well put together. One of the more weak parts of the design, though, in my opinion, has to be the trainer blade. I don't really like the trainer blade and how this looks. I like the overall shape, but I just think the hole and the hole patterns in it could have been done better. I think a redesign of the trainer blade would definitely be an improvement in the next iteration of the Prime, if there will be one in the future. But overall, the design, in my opinion, is clean, simple, and it overall just works out pretty well. One thing that I think can be improved for sure is the bushing tolerances. While they're very smooth, bouncy, and they feel very solid, I think the bushings show a lot of progressive signs of blade rub. I've closed this thing and placed this thing on my table enough to hear ringing and that sort of scraping noise and like rubbing noise you hear when you close it, to know that there is a decent amount of wiggle room to cause blade rub. Now, I haven't seen any like visual signs on the blade showing that, but I have certainly felt it, and I can actually mimic it right here. I don't know if you guys can hear that. That is the blade rubbing against the handles, which is not a good thing because that's essentially damaging your knife. But overall, I think the bushings can be improved, especially on newer iterations, because you don't want to damage your own knife. So I think that's one thing that can be improved. Now it's time to talk about the performance experience with the Prime. And while it is good, there are some things that I wish could be changed about it. For one, we should talk about the overall weight of it, and I think it is a bit heavier than some knives of the same construction. And part of that is because it is a very handle-heavy knife. And when I say handle-heavy, I don't just mean handle biased. I mean most of the weight of this knife is in the handles. And it's on the border of being close to the knives that are sort of unflippable because they're so handle-heavy. Now, this knife is flippable, as you can see here, and I do like certain aspects of it. Mainly it being smooth, sounding pretty nice, and it being overall a very tactile and snappy experience that kind of lets me know what's going on with the knife every single time I flip it. And I like that, but the problem with it is mainly the balance. I think it should be a bit lighter in the handles, so a new spacer option should become more available. I think maybe barrels or G10 full block spacers should be on the next iteration of the Prime, because so far right now the balance is just too handle heavy for a lot of people, even me. I love handle biased knives, but this is a bit too handle heavy for me, so the balance is just not it, in my opinion. Overall, the rest of the knife's experience is pretty good, and I think it's a pretty decent and solid knife for its price point. Overall, I think the Prime shows a lot of promise and a lot of potential. I'm excited to see what they do with it in the future if there is a V2. I hope they add a more lightweight spacer, again, barrels or G10, because I really think that would improve the overall flipping experience with this knife. Besides that, though, I can't really complain about a whole lot else, as the Zen pin system is very good and responsive, and it just kind of lets you know everything that's going on while you're flipping. The sound is very nice, and the QC is very good. The materials supplied are also pretty on par with what we should expect with these style of knives, and I'm overall pretty excited to see what they do with it in the future. I think Olympus Industries has a lot of promise, and I'm excited to see what they do in the future. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. Peace out.